Hey yo, what's up and welcome, I'm the one and only West Coast King, and welcome back to Major League 90, where we are talking Major League Soccer. And I know it's been a little while since I put one of these episodes out. Not entirely my fault. I did record an episode in between now and the last one you saw, but unfortunately my microphone didn't pick up any audio, so I couldn't really put that episode out when all this is just me talking anyway. Wouldn't really be all that interesting. You'd just be sitting here looking at me and it would be kind of awkward, so yeah, that really didn't work out. The microphone did that a couple times that week. I missed a couple of other episodes that I wanted to put out as well. So I have about as much faith in this microphone at this point as I do in the Seattle Sounders. And believe me, we will be getting to that at the end of this thing. But instead, I want to start out with some positivity and take a look at the teams that now sit atop of their respective conferences. So starting in the Eastern Conference, we've got the team that's won 6 in a row and 6 games in 3 weeks, by the way. Just think about that for a minute. In a league right now that has no domestic cup, no continental play, a team had to play 6 times in 3 weeks. Why? Why would anyone have to do that? The scheduling in the MLS has always been a point of contention. I have no explanation for why Toronto had to play 6 games in 3 weeks. But kudos to them. They went out, they said, all right, fine, we'll do it. And they went out and won all 6 of their games, including 2 on the road against 2 very tough opponents. 1 at CenturyLink Field in Seattle. And despite whatever it is that Seattle is right now, and again, we'll talk about that later, it's very difficult to go to CenturyLink Field and beat them. They haven't lost there in a very, very long time. And Toronto did it. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't the greatest game in the world, but good teams figure out a way to get those types of results. Not just go on the road against tough opponents and get a point, but go out there and beat good teams on the road. Toronto's doing that right now. The other team they beat on the road was Columbus, who now sit in 2nd place in the Eastern Conference, so that's looking like a really, really good win as well. Now, on the flip side here, in the Western Conference, we have Houston. I think some dumbass picked them to finish last in the West, I believe. Ooh, yeah, I think that was me. I'll take the L on that one. They definitely don't look like a last place team, but I still have very, very large doubts about Houston. I do not by any means think that they're a top team in this league. Not yet. I cannot say it with any certainty that they are that yet, because they played 7 games at home, 3 on the road. Of those 3 road games, they were at Toronto, at Portland. Now, that's very, very difficult. I understand that. And then also at New England. They've been outscored 8-2 on the road and haven't even come close. So I know that they're really, really good at home, and they are one of the top goal scoring teams in the league, and their defense is all right, but they have to be able to get something done on the road. You look at Portland last year, really good at home. They're always a great home team. Didn't win a single game on the road, and it cost them a playoff spot. If Houston can't figure out a way to get something on the road, forget a top team. They might not even make the playoffs. So I know they sit atop the table right now, and I don't want to take anything away from what they've done this season, because they've been absolutely fantastic. Kubo Torres looks like a full reinvention of himself and is back to being a top player in the league, and I really don't want to take away from that, but you have to look at the full picture here. I can't say that Houston is actually going to be that good. I need to see something from them on the road. Behind them, Dallas and Sporting Kansas City. I think Sporting Kansas City has taken that next step now that I was talking about a few weeks ago, where I wanted to see them be a little bit more consistent. They have been lately, and I really, really like the way they're going still. Dallas still looks like a really, really good team. Portland, however, has fallen off a little bit. Still think that they're going to be okay. Don't worry, Timbers fans. I think you're going to be all right. You're definitely a playoff team. With all certainty, you're better than 5 other teams in the Western Conference. Don't worry about it. You're a playoff team. Just start focusing on that, because there's no way you're falling out of the top 5 at this point. But man, the Western Conference has been really, really weird this season. Okay, so now that all the fun is over and we've talked about the good teams, let's go ahead and talk about the Sounders. And please excuse the next 2 minutes. I'm going to rant here, starting with a man named Nima Sagafi, the referee in that last match against Chicago. You mother. Okay, I got that out. I feel slightly better now. But in all seriousness, that was the worst officiated game I have ever seen. If you remember back a few weeks, I gave one of my stars of the week to the referee in a match because he was that good. That is why I gave him a star, because this is the type of bullshit refereeing that we get in the league way too often. It just happens way too much, and I'm so sick of this, man. The penalty, I mean, oh my God. The penalty itself that was awarded to Chicago in the first half never should have been given. I'm sorry. That is not a penalty for anybody, anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances. It's not a penalty. Tony Alfaro dove in, took the ball cleanly off of Nikolic. Nikolic then continued moving forward and tripped over Tony Alfaro. He didn't go through him to get to the ball. He took the ball cleanly, and then Nikolic tripped over him a bit emphatically. I'm not saying it was a dive. There was contact, but he definitely played it up so that the ref was forced into making a call there. But I'm sorry, you can't call that a penalty. It's not a penalty. And then just, I can't, I'm so mad right now. It was 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I'm still pissed off about it. They step up, take the penalty, and Stefan Frei saves it. Fair enough. It wasn't a penalty. Stefan Frei saves it. We move on. We don't have to talk about it anymore. Still a call, but at least nothing happened from it, and we can play on. But no, Nima Sagafi steps in one more time and goes, no, I said Chicago's going to score here. Now, damn it, they're going to score here. Take the penalty again. What for? Knows. Nobody knows why you let them take the penalty again. He later said it was for infringement. Somebody stepped into the box as the penalty was taken. First of all, that is never called. I know it's a rule, and if it actually happens and then they call it, fair play. But in this instance, what was he who infringed? The only player, if you look at the freeze frame, the only player to jump into the box, and he was 2 steps into the box when the penalty was taken, was Bastian Schweinsteiger, and he's wearing a red shirt. Seattle's wearing white. How do you make that mistake? Was it a mistake, or was he just trying to give Chicago a goal? I honestly don't know. But the second penalty goes in, and now all of a sudden, Seattle, who dominated that first half, unequivocally, undeniably dominated that first half, are down a goal. And yes, they got the equalizer, 3 minutes later, but the fact that they keep having to battle back is a part of what is going on with this team. It's gotten into their minds now. It's part of the psyche, and that's one of the major problems that's going on right now. Now, I'm not going to make excuses for what happened in the second half of that Chicago game. I still will say that penalty had a large part to do with the rest of the game. It's difficult to keep playing well. Like, Seattle's playing well. I mean, they haven't been getting blown out at all until this game. But every single game, when you have to keep battling back from behind and keep giving up goals and putting yourself in that position, it starts to wear on you. And for them to have played that well in the first half, just to be tied at halftime instead of having the 1-0 lead or a 2-0 lead, it's got to be frustrating. And in the second half, Chicago started pouring on the goals. And for the first time this season, Seattle's heads went down. The players' heads went down. They gave up in that match. That was the performance right there that got Sigi Schmidt fired last season in Kansas City. By the way, now Seattle has to go on the road to Kansas City. Can't wait for that freaking game. I don't even think I'm going to watch that because I don't think I can go through that again. But that was right there the performance last season that got Sigi Schmidt fired. They gave up. They quit. They went home, and they left the game mentally. And Chicago turned it on. And all credit to Chicago. They played very well in that second half. But my God, man, I don't know, man. I just don't know. Now, I do also have a couple of thoughts on how to possibly fix this a little bit here. At least a short-term fix. First of all, play Will Bruin. Seattle is just a better team when Will Bruin is on the field. And whether that means you have to sit Jordan Morris, who, I love Jordan Morris, but let's be honest, hasn't done all this season, has he? Not even a little bit. He struggled in front of goal to put chances away, and he just has not been in the games recently. Just the last 2 games hasn't been there. I don't know what it is, if it's him or the team's just not getting him the ball the way they're playing now. I don't know. But maybe sit Jordan Morris for a game and play Will Bruin. You have to get Will Bruin out there. They just play better when he's on the pitch. Secondly, get rid of Gustav Svensson, okay? He's played center back this season. Absolute never play him at center back. If he plays center back again, I'm going to find Brian Schmetzer and smack him in the head. Because he can't play center back. Svensson's not a center back. Please, for the love of God, do not line him up there again. He's played right back this season. Not absolute dog, but still not very good either, which is probably why Christian Roldan had to play right back against Chicago. And then against Chicago, Svensson played in the midfield, was absolutely useless, complete trash again. Now, he's naturally a holding midfielder, which is where he was playing on Saturday, and he was still absolutely useless. I'm sorry. I had high hopes for him coming into the season, but he has not played well one time all season, and he started, I think, every single game. Please, Brian Schmetzer, bench him. Just get him out of the team for at least one game and give us a freaking chance. The third thing that apparently is wrong with this team is, according to Brian Schmetzer, he does not have a right back in the team at all. No right back. Whose job is it before the season to go, okay, strikers, yep, midfielders, yep, left back, center back, yep, right back. Oh no, we don't have a right back. Maybe we should get one before the season starts. Who goes into a season without a player to play a specific position? And I'm sorry, O'Neal Fisher was on the bench against Chicago. He's actually a right back. That speaks volumes to what they think of O'Neal Fisher. They might as well just trade him if they're not going to play him. He's an actual right back, and Brian Schmetzer before the game said, I don't have a right back. That's a problem right there. If you're not going to play him, then get rid of him. Bring in somebody that can actually play the position. All of a sudden, I thought it was a good idea to get rid of Ty Mears at the end of the season. Not so much get rid of him, but allow him to move on. I'm thinking that was a horrific mistake now, because you can't play Roldan at right back while he's okay there. We need him in the middle of the field. That was a glaring hole when he wasn't there against Chicago. I can't believe we've gone into this season with no right back. That's absolutely mind-blowing to me. All right, so enough about that. I'm just exhausted just thinking about it again. So let's move on now to the 3 stars from this past week. Star number 1 has to go to Justin Meram for his hat trick against Montreal as Columbus went on to win the game 3-2. He is one of the main reasons Columbus is as good as they are this season. Quietly, I think Columbus is having a really, really good year. Not a lot of people are talking about Columbus still, and Justin Meram is having an MVP caliber season for them. So big shout out to Justin Meram for his performance in that one. Star number 2 has got to go to Toussaint Ricketts for his performance in 2 games this week. He scored twice in Toronto's earlier game against Columbus to beat them 2-1, and then came back on the weekend and scored again, and again it was a game winner for them to go on to beat Minnesota 3-2. So Ricketts had a massive, massive week. And for star number 3, that's a tough one, man. There were some really, really good performances this past week. Skel Jangashi had 2 goals for Colorado as they beat San Jose 3-0. Latif Blessing had a pair of goals as Sporting Kansas City drew Orlando 2-2. In Orlando, that's not easy to do. And then Romain Alessandrini had an incredible performance for the LA Galaxy as they went on the road to New York Red Bulls and beat them 3-1. That is not an easy thing to do either. So, I don't know. It's up in the air. I'm not sure who I want to pick for star number 3. Could we go to a handful of different players? Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Alright, so that is all that I have to talk about for today. I do apologize if I went a little long talking about the Sounders, but they are one of the bigger stories in the leagues so far this season. I mean, they've got to be the most disappointing team through the first 10 or so games. They are the reigning champs, and they just haven't played very well. I mean, they haven't played bad, but they've just been not as good as they should be. And I don't really know if anyone can pinpoint what the problem is. I don't know. I don't think that Brian Schmetzer knows, the coach. I don't know if anybody can really figure it out at this point. I think it's just kind of up to the players to pull it together and just get it done. I honestly, I don't really know how else to fix it, but 1 like on this video equals 1 prayer for them this week against Sporting Kansas City on the road. You could leave a million likes on this video. I don't think it's going to help. They don't go to Sporting Kansas City and win. I don't even remember the last time it happened. They just don't play Kansas City very well on the road or at home. It's very, very tough for them to beat Kansas City, but we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we'll be better this weekend at home against RSL. That's the only thing I can pray for. So that's it for this one. If you did enjoy it, make sure to let me know by leaving a like below. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you when we come back for some more Major League 90.